Well, there are new reports of pro-life pregnancy centers suffering vandalism in the United States. In Vancouver, Washington, a pro-life clinic was covered in red paint with a pro-abortion slogan. The damage was discovered last week. Separately, a pro-life clinic in Anchorage, Alaska was spray painted during the early morning hours of June 2nd. Nails were also found protruding from pavement cracks. While here in the nation's capital, demonstrations by pro-abortion protesters have disrupted traffic in intersections near the Supreme Court, a zone already restricted by high security. Polarization has intensified since the leak of a draft majority opinion in the case of Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health. All sides still await the court's ruling, which could impact Roe versus Wade, the 1973 decision that legalized abortion nationwide. And joining us now is Carrie Severino, president of the Judicial Crisis Network. Carrie, welcome back. Always so great to see you. Well, many of us were anticipating the Dobbs opinion to be released today. It wasn't. Why do you think the court is waiting to release it, and when do you expect it to come?
Well, we have 9 days left in the term. It's supposed to end on June 27th, so 9 work days left and 24 cases left to go. Typically, we would expect the biggest cases, and this year, obviously, Dobbs is #1 on that list, to be released toward the end because it takes so long to hammer out all of the details, get everyone on the same page. I had hoped the court would try to prioritize that case, given some of the leak about this case, given especially the near resort to violence that we saw earlier this week with an attacker arrested outside Justice Kavanaugh's home. So I'm discouraged that we haven't seen it yet, but I'm hopeful that it will be released soon. However, we may have to wait into July even, because it's hard to imagine how they're going to get 24 remaining opinions out in just 9 days.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, as you know, that group shut down D.C., blocked off streets around the Supreme Court today, and we're protesting. Meanwhile, it seems like every day more and more pregnancy resource centers are being targeted and damaged. Carrie, I want to get your reaction to all this, and do you anticipate more of this activity coming out?
Unfortunately, we are seeing a lot of not just protests, but actual resorts to violence, and that is never should be permitted. I think of how nearly 50 years now of pro-lifers marching by the hundreds of thousands onto the Supreme Court and managing to do so in a peaceful and respectful way. I was at the court the other day. I saw there were a few people there with very loud and vulgar demonstrations, but there also was a handful, even probably slightly more people there praying peacefully. And I think we have to remember the importance of having that peaceful message. It's a sad thing that these crisis pregnancy centers are being forced to now probably have to up their own security in the face of this violence.
Yeah, indeed. As we've talked about, we've seen this intimidation, these threats against the justices, and the Senate approved a bill to give the justices, I should say, more security, but it hasn't passed the House yet. What do you think is causing this holdup, especially, as you mentioned, what happened with Justice Brett Kavanaugh last week?
Yeah, it's unconscionable to continue to hold up this bill. It not just passed the Senate unanimously. So every Democrat was in favor of this. And I think that represents where Democrats and Republicans are nationwide. We want our judges to be protected at the Supreme Court, at every other level. We don't want them to be targeted and retaliated against because they are doing their job and serving this country. I think it's unacceptable that Nancy Pelosi has not brought this bill to the floor, because I think she ought to have a large majority of Democrats in the House who also would want to support this, especially with the urgency where we've seen an attempted assassination against one of our justices.
Yeah, and it also seems, Carrie, that these people are going after their children as well, which is so very concerning. I know it's been, over a month since that leak occurred, which is spurring all this, but the person who leaked that draft opinion has not yet been identified. What's going on here?
Yeah, we've had reports that Chief Justice Roberts has instituted an investigation using the U.S. Marshals, who are the in-court sort of mini police service. Most of the time, they do more like Secret Service type security work, and they're certainly working overtime right now protecting the justices. But they're now trying to do an investigation. We have clerks who are in their final month in the job. I think, while I understand they're being asked to provide cell phone records to see if they contacted these reporters and potentially sign affidavits about whether they did the leak or whether these cell phone records are accurate, it is imperative that we find this leaker. All of these things that are happening are a very predictable consequence of this unprecedented leak of a decision, even down to, Amy Coney Barrett's church was called out and the school where her children attend. I mean, this is outrageous to have someone's family and place of worship being targeted over this. The First Amendment rights are absolutely important, but they should be protesting at the court. And I hope the Chief Justice is absolutely putting on the gas. They need to get these opinions out, but they really need to find this leaker, because if they go on and then just have a $400,000 bonus starting at their law firm job, which is the going rate for Supreme Court clerks, I think that would be outrageous to have the person rewarded after this type of behavior.
Absolutely. Carrie, thank you so much for coming on. We always appreciate your analysis.
Thank you.